All right, I want to talk about Battlefield 6. I played a bunch of it. I came away pretty positive, but of course, with a Battlefield game, there's always questions, and I will talk about that. But I was surprised just how much fun I had. Full disclosure, though, just before we go on, I am a casual Battlefield fan. I am not hardcore, I am not a sweaty, but I've been playing all of them since Battlefield 2. I had rented the console version of that. I was like totally blown away by just like the freedom and flexibility of it, and I've jumped into every single one since in some shape or form. So just know that I'm like a casual enjoyer. I've played them all. The most recent one I enjoyed was Battlefield 1. Along with that, another disclosure, I did go to a Battlefield 6 preview event, but there were Twitch streamers there paid to like promote and live stream the game. I just went as press. I paid my own way. I could just say whatever I want. I could talk my shit, and I'm going to. But just getting right into it, I think top level, I do actually think it's worth pointing out that, you know, with what they've been saying on the interview trail and this early marketing, right? Like Vince Zampella, the guy leading the charge here, it's a spiritual successor or return to form to Battlefield 3 and 4. And I absolutely think that actually is the case, because before I had even heard that phrase, I played the game and I was immediately like, oh, this is Battlefield 3, 4, but next generation feeling. So bigger, a bunch of modes, insane graphics, somehow even better audio design, destruction, but just regular old boots on the ground warfare. And where with Battlefield 2042, right, the lead up to Battlefield 2042, it was very like, this is for the fans, Battlefield moments. It's just going to be a collection of everything the best about Battlefield, right? That was all marketing speak. I think eventually the game was kind of fixed to get there, but at launch, it was not good at all. But this time playing Battlefield 6, I actually kind of feel that whole like it's Battlefield for the fans because of that 3 and 4 feeling. But with that, it's like everything has been, according to their words, built from the ground up. And where I notice that the most is just in movement and shooting. Movement is pretty fast. Not like insanely fast, don't get it twisted, but like it is just faster than I expected. It's not necessarily just sprint speed, it also comes from maneuverability that you'd expect from a lot of other modern games like a Call of Duty. You know, easily mantling ledges, climbing, crouching, going prone, like moving around, all of it feels very smooth, intuitive, to the point where you can kind of almost do like a Max Payne 3 dive on the ground. And also, when you're revived by someone, you start out on your back and you can be shooting on your back and get up, which is cool to see. It's very responsive, it's very smooth, it's very intuitive. You can do leans, you can mount your gun on a wall or anywhere like that. But if you're playing on controller, that's where I played, you're clicking the stick to mount to the wall. Obviously different use cases for different weapons and stuff like that. But yeah, jumping to that, the weapon feel for me was all there for the most part. I actually didn't find the sniper rifle that I was using as satisfying as I was hoping, but everything else, the assault rifle, the grenade launcher, an RPG, all of that stuff really worked. And speaking of the RPG, like I really liked them going back to classes. Obviously, that's like what Battlefield was kind of built around, but I think the way they kind of doubled down into them here, like this time around, I really felt the importance again of those different classes and their individual skill sets, and just how many opportunities there are for you to do things as your little class character that, you know, isn't necessarily just getting an insane high KD ratio, but you're doing other stuff that doesn't just feel like busy work. It actually feels fun and productive, you know, like as I believe, the engineer, I was really hooked on taking out tanks. I was very happy to revive people. I was ready as a recon or scout or whatever. I was very happy to tag enemies, mark enemies, set people up for success. Even if I wasn't the best sniper shot, I was still contributing and earning points and stuff in the right way. And that's always what makes Battlefield good. And here it feels like they got that balance down pretty well. The only thing I will say with like the shooting and the running and the gunning is that because it is very fast, and maybe it was because I just was at this event, right? And essentially it was like a giant glorified LAN party where I was playing against like insane pro Call of Duty players and Twitch streamers and shit like that, right? It felt very much to me aggressively fast and runny and like very sprint and slide and shotgun blast people. That of course can be a matter of balancing, but because of the way a lot of people were playing against me that way, I had to adapt, and I was like, all right, bet, instead of taking it slow and trying to be tactical and having some fun, I am sprinting and being sweaty and trying to quick scope people as much as possible, which, it's not necessarily what I want from these experiences, but I found that to be the case quite a bit, and not just in close quarters stuff. But I found people like, sprinting across a battlefield to just try and like melee and quick shotgun me. And I think a lot of this is born out of the shotgun right now, which you've probably heard if you've listened to any other previews or anything like that. Balancing, of course, it's the game is still a work in progress, but the shotgun was insanely OP. It very quickly turned into the shotgun show. And I was very reluctantly, I was like, all right, I guess, if you can't beat him, join him. And it's awesome. Obviously not good because it's like a wind gun. But in a Battlefield game, I found myself like running into a room, sliding, boom, shotgunning guys, which is not what I expected. And not, I don't know if that's exactly what I want. I really like it for the big scale battles, like conquests and stuff like that. And I think here it pretty much delivers. Not only just in terms of like, giving you the vehicles, and the vehicles are like there where you spawn, good stuff like that. But also just the destruction and the sheer scale of it all. Like I felt it. And, to answer people's questions about the destruction, they're calling it tactical destruction, which means that it's very much situational, where I'd say that in some of the larger maps, when you're dealing with like a bunch of little buildings and little huts, those can be completely floored, completely blown down, right? But if you're playing in a map that is like kind of city streets, like Gibraltar, wherever it was called, you can't completely knock down all buildings, but you can blow out the facade of a building. You can punch holes through floors of buildings, but it doesn't, I couldn't tell if you could really collapse every single building. I think because of those more city maps, some structure has to remain intact. So there are some limitations to it. I wouldn't expect like insane freedom, like completely on like the finals level, but I will say that it was good. The destruction was very effective, and I found myself really enjoying taking out an RPG, or my assault rifle had like I could switch to the grenade launcher and boom, just quickly take out dudes up on a second floor balcony because they were annoying me. So I blew out their whole wall, and then I was able to shoot at them easier because they didn't have cover. Stuff like that, those moment to moment things, the quick thinking and actually working with the destruction is good. As you can tell from the gameplay, like I am not very good, obviously, but I had a couple of moments that were very satisfying. I got a double kill where I actually got a long-range sniper headshot through two guys. There was like a guy who was just happened to be standing right behind another guy. Stuff like that, really good. But also just when you are locked in those like long sniper standoffs, you see the glint of someone else's scope. You and your squad are kind of ducking around and trying to maneuver around it. I had a lot of good moments like that. Obviously in Battlefield, it's always fun, but here I found like controlling and using a tank really fun and not feeling like clunky or goofy or weird or like getting stuck on terrain or anything like that. It had a good level of control, a good level of oomph behind the tanks and vehicles. But yeah, just good shit. The weapons in them were good, and I found myself really wanting to be in them. I got to kind of dabble in a lot of the different modes and a handful of the maps. So apparently at launch, I believe they said there's going to be like 9 maps, which is pretty impressive. But for me, Empire State was very cool. I believe that's what it's called. It takes place in Brooklyn, kind of like Brooklyn Heights, Dumbo, right there. Like you can see the Brooklyn Bridge and everything like that. And it definitely, like speaking as someone from the general area, it's not necessarily a one-to-one recreation of that area, but you do have Brooklyn Bridge Park. And I actually recognized one real world building. I went on Street View to kind of refresh myself. And there are a couple of buildings that they use that are really there. And they actually use their architecture in interesting ways. Like there's this whole like stairway up to a building around the corner from the bridge that was like a really, really good choke point. I found the maps here top, like, yes, Empire State is a standout for me because it was a pretty large scale, but not like jets flying overhead or anything like that, but still large battle, and you're throwing lots of bodies at different, sections. But I think the maps just felt really, really good, like really tight, some real good uphill pushes, a lot of good open zones with little bits of cover. Like, I don't know, I don't think Battlefield has struggled with maps too hard in the past, but I don't know. What I did play here really did stand out to me. Sound design, also, it sounds like I'm just repeating something from other Battlefield games. Like DICE has always really been like on the sound design big time as their bread and butter, but like having experienced all the Battlefield games, I still found this to feel even stronger. There were just so many moments where it was like an explosion, and I was like out loud, like to my other teammates, like, holy shit. Like, it's just really, really effective stuff. So obviously not like a pro Battlefield player. I can only speak to so much. But from what I got there, it feels like they kind of get it, and they're just kind of like, hey, here's what you want. Here, you want a Battlefield 3 and 4 again? Here you go. It's that with better graphics, fine-tuned, rebuilt gameplay, stuff like that. But of course, questions remain. Obviously, balancing stuff. I talked about the shotgun being horribly, just insanely overpowered, but really questions in terms of like how this is going to be handled, because of course it is being backed by EA. It is EA Games, and EA has a past of mucking these things up. So where is Battlefield 6 sticking point going to be? I think we haven't seen it yet. Whether it's going to be, it's probably going to have a battle pass, of course, and shit like that. But like, is that battle pass going to suck? Is it going to be monetized in some sort of predatory way that feels like it takes advantage of players? Is the game going to be saddled with overpriced skins? The creative directors and everybody behind this did go on to say that they're not going to do like goofy skins. It's going to be more kind of real world skins, which I think is refreshing for some people. I think some people just want that regular old military simplicity. So I'd like to see that. But again, also server performance. That's another thing. Battlefield 2042 was fucked for a long time. So a lot of this lies on, the success of those servers. At the very least, they seem confident. Obviously, I went to an event where they're putting their freshest face forward, but like they seem confident. I got to interview Vince Sempella and Byron Bede, the guys at the top, and on the Friends Per Second podcast, we were able to ask them a couple of tough questions. Couldn't get a lot out of them, but it does seem like EA and everybody put a massive fuck ton of money behind this whole thing, like this game. I mean, and there were the rumors of like the 100 that this game needs to hit 100 million player count. I don't know how true that is. We did ask them. They wouldn't really give us a straight answer, but either way, it feels like budget-wise and quality-wise and like insanity-wise, like it does feel like they are pushing for something like that. But the question is, can they do it? Because I think this game can very much make Battlefield fans happy. Battlefield Portal is back and has way more tools and seems like it's going to have a lot of flexibility. Also, when I was at the event, they did kind of allude to some sort of server browser functionality. I don't know like any official confirmation yet on that at the time of recording this, but like it seems like they get it for Battlefield fans, right? But is that enough to push it even further? Is that enough to justify the insane spend on this game and the rumored they need 100 million player count? That's up there. And even like the business and the number shit aside, like does it feel different enough to compete with the heavyweights of the Fortnite, the Apex Legends, the Call of Duties? I don't know. I like Battlefield. Battlefield's a little bit more of my flavor, so like I'm into that. That's why I went to this event. I was curious, and I have played them. I care about them a little bit more than Call of Duty at this point. But I don't know, man. We're just gonna have to wait and see. But like I said, with what I played for quite a few hours, probably almost a total of 8 hours, I had a lot of fun. It's the type of Battlefield I'm looking for, a good amount of destruction, really compelling maps, and just simple, like you're just military guy. You feel like a body thrown at these, incredible, immense battles, but there's enough stuff in your toolkits, in your class differentiation to make yourself feel like a little hero in these larger scale battles, which that's what I go to these games for. So it seems like I'm getting that. And like I said, there's still room for them to fuck it up. But at the very least, like I said, they are kind of confident with it, even with the fact that they are putting out an open beta probably this weekend, I believe. So it's an open beta. You don't have to like pre-order the game or anything like that. You can just try it. So yeah, let's see how it goes. Servers might be fucked, but we'll see. That's where I'm at. If you stuck around this long, I don't do a lot of preview events. I only do them when they specifically pique my interest. And again, for this, it was like, how can Battlefield rebuild and try again after 2042? The signs are pointing to, seems like they're doing a good job. But yeah, like I said, we don't have all the answers yet, and I'm looking forward to that. When the actual full game comes out, I'll play that, I'll evaluate that. So this isn't me like planting a flag on my final opinion or anything like that. But I do want to know what you guys think. If you're watching this video later and you played the open beta, or maybe you're part of like the Battlefield Labs fan thing, let me know what you're thinking. If you just saw the cool trailer featuring Limp Bizkit and you were into it there, cool. I know I was. I'm a sucker for a good trailer song sometimes when it's actually good. And am I saying Limp Bizkit is actually good on record here? Yeah, I guess I am. But let me know what you think about Battlefield 6 and everything going on. Let me know what you think about some of my points of concerns. Let me know what you think about how I feel about like some of the positive aspects. Anything you want to hash out, hit me up in the comments. I'll be down there as much as possible. But of course, things get a little crazy. So you can always yell at me on social media everywhere at Jake Baldino. But thanks for listening to me just kind of like chat about games. That's what I love doing. That's what I'm doing here. Clicking a like button helps me. But that's it. I'm Jake Baldino. Subscribe because video games. Pizza's on me. Also, how cool is this shirt? It's kind of funny. I like it. Anyway.